Hey, I'm George.
And I'm Jacob.
Welcome to J&J's Lowdown, Tech Tuesday.
Yeah, we're finally back with another Tech Tuesday. We had some issues loading the first one of the year.
Yeah.
So we took some time off, figured out what was going on, and now we're back.
Welcome.
Yeah.
So we got some interesting news today. We had talked about Stadia in a previous episode. Today we're going to talk about Stadia teaming up with Verizon.
Yes, for giving people a free Stadia platform. So sounds like fun.
I mean, if you're with Verizon, which Verizon's one of the largest carriers, I think if I remember correctly, Verizon and AT&T kind of did a merge a while back. Yeah, AT&T actually bought Verizon out, but they allowed Verizon to stay.
Oh, I don't know that I remember that. I'm going to have to look into that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. We're both wearing blue again today. We did it at work the other day too.
I know.
That's pretty cool. We got the blue
times.
memo. But yeah, so Verizon and Stadia have kind of teamed up with Google and Verizon. And for people who are actually buying into the Fios, Fios service from Verizon for, what is it, $79.99 a month. Yeah. You get Google Stadia, the actual, what is it? It's the Stadia Premier Edition, a Stadia controller, and a 3-month Stadia Premium or Stadia Pro subscription.
Okay.
So, I mean, for 3 months for free.
That's
you
not
have
bad.
to start paying for it after that. But that first 3 months for free, that's plus the $130 software or hardware.
The subscription was what? $15 a month?
I think so.
So you're paying, now you're going to be paying $90 a month roughly. $95.
Yeah. For people, but if you're already getting the Fios and you like the idea of a Stadia, you're going to get that for free. So I mean, it's a great business plan because it's a team up for a console that really hasn't proven itself.
Yeah.
For a company that hasn't proven itself in the game genre, and a phone company who has proven themselves.
Oh yeah, well known.
So it's a great partnership. I think it's going to bring some. What's the word I'm looking for? It's going to bring some kind of oomph to the Stadia. It's going to bring some
more promotion.
There you go.
There you
promotion. Yeah. So I can't with words.
Now I wonder how that works. Will the Stadia be able to? I guess you'll be able to hotspot to it as well.
Well, yeah. The actual Google Stadia, the actual Stadia gaming can happen anywhere. The hardware itself is just allowed to connect your TV and acts as a box.
Sure.
Whereas, I mean, you can still use the service otherwise.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with the Pro subscription, I think it's worth it if it's something you want to test out and you're already looking at the Fios.
You might as well try it.
Yeah, I just don't know that I'm going to pay for Fios just for that.
I'm not.
To me, that's too much. I couldn't do it.
No.
But it's a great partnership and it's a good start to the Stadia. It shows that they have the support of a large company. Which, I mean, they already have the support of a large company. They're Google.
Well, and if you can find an outlet on a sidewalk somewhere that supports 5G, then you could play the Stadia with 5G.
Yeah. Verizon running 5G with the Stadia there? Yeah, that'd be great promotion.
Yeah.
They're going to steal that idea now.
They probably
already have the idea. Why would they steal it from us? But yeah, that's pretty interesting. If you're thinking about getting the Fios, you're going to get a Stadia. So
if you're already getting the Fios, you might as well jump in and say, I'll take my Stadia and my controller and my 3 free months.
Exactly.
Might as well.
Yeah, it's free. Free is for me.
Yeah, it is me.
But speaking of phone service, TV service, we actually had an interesting one I came across. DirecTV has some satellite troubles. Apparently, one of their satellites, the Spaceway 1, had some irreversible thermal damage done to it, and it's causing it to, if it uses its battery, they're afraid it's going to explode, damaging other satellites in the area. Now, currently, it's in geostationary orbit, which means it hovers at about 22,000 miles above the Earth, and it stays in the exact same spot in its rotation. So when the Earth turns, it turns with it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what they're trying to do, and they actually got approval on the 19th, to move it into graveyard orbit. Apparently, 300 kilometers past that, there's a graveyard orbit where there's just a graveyard of satellites just sitting out there floating and don't work.
I mean, I'm curious as to if you had the means, let's just say Richard Branson, for example, running trips into outer space and back.
Yeah.
If he just takes one of his $1 billion and creates a spaceship tow truck and decides to go out there and collect all these graveyard satellites and bring them back to recycle.
The issue is that these satellites aren't small; they're huge.
Yeah, they're huge.
I mean, and then trying to reorbit if there is any damage, like with this one, with the thermal
Burn up coming in?
Well, it wouldn't burn up; it would explode coming in. I mean, they're worried about this exploding, damaging other satellites. So, what's happening is starting February 25th is what they call the eclipse season. It's when eclipses happen on satellites. The satellites have to use their batteries as opposed to solar power.
Right.
And so they're afraid that when it starts using the battery during this, it's going to explode.
Overheat.
Yeah. So the idea is that once they go into graveyard orbit, it'll explode and nobody's going to have any problems.
Richard Branson, you need to invent a spaceship cargo van.
It's just gonna be out there, it's gonna be like a subsidiary of WM or something.
Beep, beep, beep.
Satellite waste management.
Yeah.
That's a great idea because one of the reasons why the spaceships have a hard time getting into space. Well, they don't have a hard time other than the fact they're heavy, but they also have to align it for this graveyard for all these satellites because you shoot up there, there's just debris everywhere. I mean, every time a spaceship has exploded, where did it explode to? It didn't go away. It's just sitting in the greater expanse of the geosynchronous orbit.
Right.
Because it just sits there until it catches Earth's gravity and pulls back in, which doesn't happen all that often anymore.
Not once it's gone that far out.
Yeah, no. Now, if like an asteroid comes in and catches the orbit and stuff like that, then we may see like the fire in the sky kind of deal you see in movies. Won't be that impressive, but
what a great movie, Fire in the Sky. It's an old movie.
Yeah, but that was about aliens, though.
It was.
It was, yeah. Was there like a sequel?
I think it was.
What was the sequel? I don't remember now.
Yeah.
But there was a sequel. But I remember Fire in the Sky. He was like in a pod on a wall or something. Yeah. Kind of. Ooh, it reminds me of The Matrix when you think about it.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Hey, interesting. So,
yeah.
This graveyard satellite, how do they move it? Have you thought about that? It's got thrusters on it that they can.
How are they moving it from the geostationary to the? Yeah, so standard, they have to actually remove all of the fuel in it before or during the move. It has to use all of its propulsion. So they had to actually get okay from. I think is it FCC? I don't remember who they had to get the okay from.
I think FCC controls radio.
Yeah, but I don't know who they had to get.
FFA.
Maybe, or it was from like
NASA.
Yeah, maybe. They had to get the okay to move it with it still having propulsion, like fuel within it.
Yeah.
So, but normally they would use all the fuel to get there, and it would be done. It would just be a dead satellite floating around.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. That's why I wanted to include it. You can look it up yourself as DirecTV Satellite Spaceway 1. I thought it was pretty cool for a Tech Tuesday.
That's pretty neat.
It's just stuff I didn't know. I didn't know there was a graveyard orbit.
I didn't either.
I knew there was debris everywhere, but I didn't know there was an orbit just for that.
Yeah.
That's good. All fluffy. Fluffy in the graveyard orbit.
Not only do we litter our own Earth, but we litter the empty space around our Earth.
Well, of course. We as a society, as a people, we spread out. Don't tell me you don't sit down and man spread.
No, I do.
Yeah, exactly. So but enough about DirecTV. What we're going to talk about now is this year in particular. Now, for a decade, everybody's been talking about self-driving cars.
Yeah.
But this year, apparently, there are several different companies that are getting into this groove. GM and Honda work together. GM is actually doing like the manufacture. Honda's doing all of the like engineering, like the customer care and what it
design,
the style of it, right? And GM, their Cruise, which is their self-driving subsidiary, is working with this, and it's not for consumers. It's going to be known as the Origin, but they've taken out like the steering wheel. There's no steering wheel in it. It's literally just a vehicular transport that has double sliding doors, so two people can walk in together and sit down. It seats like 6 people.
Wow.
And it's just self-driving.
Wow. And I guess it's going to be run like a cab.
Yeah, it's going to be a ride share, kind of like Uber. You call for the ride. When you get there, you punch in a code. You walk in, sit down. It takes you where you got to go. You put in a code when you're done, and it's a ride with no driver.
I like that.
I think we've been pushing that way for a while, especially now that we've got the 5G.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to take some time before 5G has that, connectivity.
Sure.
But I actually saw not a statistic, a mathematical thing where, let's say, two autonomous cars are driving behind each other, one in front, one behind, are driving down the road at 70 miles an hour. Current latency is about 50 milliseconds, right?
Yeah.
5G is dropping that down to 1 millisecond or less, or roughly 1 millisecond. At 4G, at 50 milliseconds, that means that if the car in front has to stop because like a deer passes it or there's a wreck, it takes 50 feet before the other car even realizes that's happened.
Yeah.
And if they're this close,
boom.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why we want that low latency. That's why 5G is so important that we've been talking about. Is it creates that latency. So when this car stops, 1 millisecond, that's 1 foot at roughly 70 miles an hour. It's roughly, that's not 100% accurate, but
you know, that's
you never think about it that way.
Right.
I mean, 50 milliseconds, you're like, oh, that's not much at all. But when it comes to 70 miles an hour, that makes a difference.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Hopefully it won't be following that close though.
But it's going to be following 2 car lengths.
Yeah, that's too
That's
close.
standard. So it's going to follow 50 feet behind?
DMV states that you should follow 1 car length for every 10 miles per hour you travel.
How long is the car?
Roughly
8 feet?
depending on the car.
Is it 8 to 10 feet?
Sure.
See, that'd be pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the problem. That car in front has stopped it for an accident. The 5 cars behind it who don't give a crap about that 10
That's
feet
right.
per car, and then that one back here, it's going to slam into every last one of them. I mean, they're probably going to hit the thing in front because they're not paying attention on their phones doing their makeup anyway, but hey.
It'd be a Tesla situation.
It's going to be a Tesla situation. Wasn't it the pedestrian was jaywalking, or was that Uber?
I think that was Uber.
Uber, the pedestrian was actually jaywalking, and so the whole joke was, and I know it's not really a joke, but the whole thing was, should the car realize that people are going to break the law? So how do you create variables for that? The car would never move.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the issue: is if people break the law and don't do what they're supposed to do.
This car will just sit here and wait until people stop breaking the law.
Because people hit other people every day.
They do.
Human drivers who are paying attention, who know that people are crazy.
That's right.
So I mean, how do you tell a vehicle, okay, here's all the rules that you got to follow. This is exactly what you do. You put it in code.
Yep.
And then you have to put another code that's the X factor. What's that idiot human on the sidewalk going to do?
Here's all the mistakes humans are going to make.
What's Otis, the village drunk, going to do? He's going to stumble across the street. Well, how's the car going to know that?
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So, the origin really opens up for GM and Honda.
Yeah.
But it's not a consumer vehicle.
Right. No.
So I think consumer vehicles are still far out. Waymo, which I think is just a fantastic name. It's Google. It's their self-driving,
Which has been self-driving forever.
Yeah, well, they did it in Arizona a couple times, and there was like an accident there. But now they're opening up. They're going to be doing long-haul trucking using this technology, using autonomous drivers through Texas and parts of New Mexico. Is it New Mexico?
Wow.
Yeah, and parts of New Mexico. And they're saying it's coming soon.
Yeah.
So what we're going to see is that all these truck drivers are going to start. I mean, it's going to take jobs.
Losing their jobs.
Yeah. So what's going to happen? It's a great idea. It's great, but the implementation has to be something that doesn't hurt the economy already more than it is.
I mean, if you're able to pay, let's just say a truck driver's making $80,000 a year. If you, as a businessman, are able to save that $80,000 a year and provide it just for the payment of the truck,
I think the truck technology is going to cost more than that in the end. But
you would have to.
At the same time, you don't have to pay that truck.
Years.
Yeah, exactly. You got depreciation. It's a one-time purchase as opposed to every year with benefits.
Then when it's paid off, it's all money.
It's going to help the big companies, but what's it going to do for the little guy?
It's going to put them out.
Yeah. So I mean, and we're not a political show. We don't really deal with the intrigue of the economy and things of that nature.
No.
But that it's just, to me, because I know a lot of truck drivers, they kind of struck me as like, well, what are they going to do?
Sure.
But I don't think we're quite at the point yet where self-driving or autonomous cars are going to be completely autonomous.
No, it's not time to take over.
Well, even Uber, the reason why there's so many issues with that accident is because they had somebody sitting in the seat who's like, it's like a side seat driver kind of
Sure.
making sure the car. He was playing on his phone,
Not paying attention.
Exactly. So they are supposed to, and hopefully for a while there will be people at the helm to make sure the cars do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But it's a bright future for this kind of technology, and it looks great for consumers.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited. You know, I mean, you've got Uber doing. I think Aurora just came out with one as well, self-driving. So, I mean, one of these days you're just going to be able to get in your car and stay home, and you're going to be able to drive home.
Yep. And then from there, when they move it into the flying cars,
yeah,
I mean the options are endless.
I think the flying cars with autonomous is a lot more complicated.
Got to be.
Yeah.
Landing zones, topographical areas.
Well, I mean, you've got no roads, so there's going to have to be lanes within in the sky.
Sure.
That's going to be a massive undertaking, but that's something far for the future. I don't think that's coming in the next 10 years.
No.
But that's really all we got for Tech Tuesday. I think we went a little bit overboard on the autonomous cars, but
it was interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's and we'll get more information and let y'all know as it comes along. If there's any consumer vehicles out there dropping soon,
yeah,
I don't think we're going to see consumer vehicles this year.
No,
but commercial vehicles are definite.
It's coming
for starting this year. So real exciting stuff. But thank y'all so much again for joining us on J&J's Lowdown for another Tech Tuesday. We got more stuff coming this year. But y'all have a wonderful day and take care.
Take care.